Coming up on the GenGAMEcast, Iwata promises everything in the world with Wii U and 3DS, Arkham City gets hit with the ugly stick, and Black Ops 2. All that and more coming up on the GenGAMEcast. Hey, and welcome to the GenGAMEcast for Tuesday, May 1st, 2012. I'm Trevor, and today, joining me on the podcast is...
Benny Gerard.
Gilbert Warner.
And joining us as a special guest from GenGAME eSports, or soon to be known as GGeS, Mike Cohen. What's going on, Mike?
Nothing much, man. Just here to spread some word about the tournaments and the GGeS is opening. Nice.
And he's going to be joining us for some of the best gaming commentary this side of the Webernets. So we'll go ahead and jump into our first segment. What are you playing? We'll let our guest, Mike, start us off. What have you been doing this past week, Mike?
League of Legends. Lots of League of Legends. Working with a lot of the changes in the brackets, working with a lot of... actually, this is a really big one. Spectator reviews, all kinds of things that are really changing in the game. The game's evolving a lot right now, and taking a lot to keep up to date with it. Also, the teams. I mean, you got to set up these tournaments, and the teams are all being prepared as best they can, and it's a lot of work.
And we're glad that you're heading up the new esports division at GenGAME, and we can't wait to see what comes of it. So we'll move right along to Gil. What have you been up to, Mr. Gilbert Warner?
I have been playing some Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions on my iPod. Though a friend of mine got me Dissidia on the PSP, and he's yelling at me to start it, so I'll probably hop onto that sometime soon.
Alrighty. And Benny, you've been hard at work playing Minecraft server admin, I know.
I have. Good news though, like Mythos, as you know, it has been kind of redesigned and will be back online late tonight, early tomorrow morning. We'll be doing some streaming of that for our official 1.0 launch party. Everything before this was beta. Saying right now.
it's all beta. Does it ever leave the beta phase, Benny?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't leave the beta phase until you have this big grandiose party. You invite a bunch of people and you throw a big switch. But other than that, I've been playing Spirit Tracks lately. I finished Phantom Hourglass months ago. I'm like, you know what? I might as well pick up Spirit Tracks and play through that and compare the two. So I'm liking it so far.
Alrighty. And me personally, I've been kind of waiting to pick back up on StarCraft. Red's been coaching me, so I'm waiting for her to get situated again before we pick that up again. But I picked up Champions Online again. Been playing with Kevin and Lex. And besides that, it's been a little bit of Halo, a little bit of Call of Duty. But we're gonna see where that goes with our first story, of course, the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Worldwide Reveal trailer. And this hit about 3 hours ago now. Is that right in saying that? 2.5? It was about 8:30, I think it hit.
I want to say 8 o'clock, maybe. I'm not sure.
All right, but
it's on YouTube somewhere with it.
It's on YouTube. It's also on callofduty.com/blackops2/video/reveal, and it's actually a pretty interesting video.
None of this surprises me.
And it's so like Ghost Recon in a way. It's like if Modern Warfare 3 and Ghost Recon had a baby, and that baby had like quad rotors everywhere.
I had a genetically engineered baby, taking the best parts of each and putting them together.
Well, we don't know if they're the best yet because we haven't seen it. All we have is this trailer to go by.
Yeah, but the footage looks fantastic so far.
What happens?
Can I just say,
The enemy still
this is nothing special. This is nothing special at all. This is the Call of Duty game we knew we were getting. It's not exciting. Everyone is still going to buy it, but it's still not exciting at all. I mean, I watched the trailer, and I instantly thought of, oh, so it's like Modern Warfare 3, but with some more high-tech gadgets. That's basically what it looks like to me. So the game isn't going to be anything special. It's just another Call of Duty game.
It has a horseback riding sequence.
It's still going to sell millions. Yeah, honestly, that looks really out of place to me.
It does, but it has freaking horses.
Horses aren't that great. They're dumb and they bite things.
Well, somebody didn't see Warhorse. All right. Well, that's the trailer. With the thankfully, we didn't have to suffer through the NBA playoffs to watch that. But
oh god.
But there's been a lot of people kind of. The feedback I've seen so far is okay. This is kind of expected. This isn't really showing everything, though. There's a lot of gadgets being tossed around. There's a lot of different things we haven't seen in Call of Duty. Like, there was a jet flying sequence there. There was a horseback riding sequence. I'm just curious as to see whether or not they're going to really try to be pushing the envelope with the Call of Duty series here, or whether or not it's going to be the same old, same old.
If I can add something in there, a lot of people are talking about this as being the next futuristic warfare game kind of stuff, and like gadgets that aren't really in existence yet. But it's not really as far into the future as most people are actually predicting, because I'm pretty sure recently, and I might butcher the name here, but I'm pretty sure a guy named FPS Rusher on the YouTube channel actually got a hold of one of the new high-tech equipment.
It was part of the promotional thing.
Yeah,
they gave him.
He got a hold of it. So I mean, the gadgets that you're seeing may not be knowledge to us, but in reality have probably been worked on for a really, really long time.
Oh, of course.
Some of it is going to be, what you know of as like, holy crap, what's that? It's new. I've never heard of it before. But a lot of people have been dealing with it for a really long time. So to say that this is just a futuristic warfare game is probably a little out of the question, and more along the lines to say that it's a, it's a modern, just aimed to be a little more.
It's like it's more like a Ghost Recon style game where we have a lot of high-tech gadgets in play, and I'd be curious to see if they're going to steal more bits from that, like adding more tactical elements to the game.
I would even necessarily say Ghost Recon level. I mean, the tech looks impressive, especially like I think of the spot where the guy's like looking at his arm and he's got that like tactical display, and that looks impressive, but then I look at my iPod, and or take someone's iPhone or the latest Android phone, and that's way more impressive than what the guy has on his arm.
I exactly agree, and it's to say Ghost Recon is the same thing is a really far in between, because Ghost Recon people are stealthing. They're walking into environments completely not seeable, and they're coming out of ships that just somehow fall from the sky but then land without actually hitting the ground, and it's really weird. But then this stuff that we're seeing in the new trailer, it's all extremely realistic. It's just out of our range of what we've seen. That's all.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a direct copy, but they're definitely pulling elements.
It's maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's I would call it a more current modern game, because Black Ops 1 was in like the 1960s, something like that. If I recall,
I thought it was Vietnam era, so it was 70s, wasn't it? Or early, maybe late 60s, but early 70s.
Well, I mean, the ending to Black Ops, spoiler alert, is that it alludes to your main character being the guy who assassinated Truman.
Ah.
Okay.
So I'm not a history buff, so I can't.
I didn't play the story in Black Ops 2, so
I wasn't really paying attention to the story in Black Ops.
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people pay attention to the story in any of the Call of Duty games anymore, except people at Guinness. They apparently liked it. Of course, myself referring to the Guinness World Records of best video game endings ever.
It did have a pretty decent ending, but I
don't know.
I don't know if I'd say best ever
at all. So, I'm gonna say this. It's something similar to what Halo is doing. We were actually talking about this before. Everyone's trying to, have the next big game come out, and nobody was expecting Halo at E3 last year, or Halo 4. And I think everyone knew Black Ops was coming, but they weren't expecting a more futuristic kind of shooter. They were expecting, it's just a sequel to Black Ops 1, same time period. The question remains, though, will there be zombies?
And that, of course, the $1 million question that we'll find out probably at E3. On their website, they did show off some coordinates, and when I punched those into my trusty Google Maps, this is what I got. And for those of you listening to the audio, it's one intersection away from the Los Angeles Convention Center, an area where there are 2 suspect parking lots where there might be a huge Call of Duty related event. So if you are going to E3, lucky you, and you're put up in a hotel, lucky you again, you might be able to see something happen over in this general area related to the series. But that's just my guess at this point. All right, now that we've gone through the Call of Duty news, that's kind of been important. Obviously, the big trailer revealed the release date. The leak that happened earlier in the week from Target, basically blowing their announcement that it was Black Ops 2, even though everybody was pretty much guessing it at that point.
Everybody knew. Like, that wasn't confirmed, but everybody knew.
But the release date, obviously an iconic date. But that's pretty much it. We'll obviously talk about it again when there's more to talk about. So let's go ahead and move on to some other news. Nintendo's kind of in some financial hurt right now. Even though they do have a lot of money banked to cover them through tough times, this is the first time they've really had to tell their shareholders, yeah, we didn't make money this semester. Not semester, this quarter. Jeez, I've got school in the mind.
Well, it's been a while since they've had that problem, but I think it actually wasn't too long ago that they've had to report a loss. But I mean, it's not like, it's kind of like Sony's position. It's not just problems with their business or their products or anything. Part of it is the economy itself. And I could be getting this wrong, a strong Japanese yen has been part of the problem and part of the reason a lot of Japanese companies have lost just a ton of money.
That's one of the things. The other thing that Nintendo's losing money on their consoles. So there's no two ways to look at it. Nintendo, they screwed up, and they screwed up at a bad time because of the exchange rates and currency fluctuations. And it's just 2 bad things that happened at the same time, much like what happened to Sony year previous with the PSN hack and the frickin' tsunami and everything kind of going underwater in Japan for a good period of time.
Yeah.
It's 2 bad things that happened at the same time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's
talk about this. Okay. In today's day and economy, we all know that everyone's hurt and everyone's in a bad spot. There are some that are worse than others. But how long did Nintendo really think that in today's economy it was going to work for them to just pump out a new console every year and call it put a new letter at the end of it? A DS, a DSi, a DSL, a DS extra large, a DS 3DS.
That's different. In a way, Nintendo was basically copying Apple with the constant DS releases. But to be fair, once they had the DS Lite, they actually didn't release a new one every year. They did come out with the DSi and the DSi XL.
The DSi XL was essentially years, the DSi XL though was essentially like
a bigger DSi.
Well, it was also the launch was moot because when it came out, they already announced the release date of the 3DS before the DSi XL came out. They're like, 3DS next year, or you can get a DSi XL now and be out of date in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, going from saying that, they're releasing a new one every year. In a way, that's Apple does the same thing. They release a new iPhone every year. And
sooner than that. It's like every 9 months.
No, it's once a year. And actually the 4S came out like more than a year later because they released it in the fall as opposed to summer. But so I can't fault Nintendo for releasing a quote unquote new version of the DS every year. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did something similar with the 3DS. It's really the reason Apple does it, and the reason it's fine for Nintendo to get into it is because it keeps people buying the product. I mean, the point is not to necessarily release new hardware every time. It's just to change the design a little bit, make it look a little bit newer and more exciting, and then people will buy it again. Or older people will buy it. But I also want to say that I wanted to mention earlier that Nintendo losing money on a console, it's a first for Nintendo to lose money on a console, from what I've read. But if I recall, other companies have always lost money on their consoles when they've released them.
PS3 lost money in the first 2 months, but then they
so
gained,
the Xbox 360 and
but in the first month,
360,
you're
and I
about...
think even last generation as well. I think the PS2 and the original Xbox also were were also losing money for the company. I mean, like, you know, a company doesn't make money on a console right away. They lose money on it at first, and then they make it back over time as the console gets cheaper to produce and more people buy it as more games come out.
Traditionally. It was not the case with the Wii, though, because the Wii sold at a profit, because it cost, what, $200 to make, and it was $250 to buy one.
I think it cost less than $200 to make a Wii.
It was very cheap to make one.
Yeah.
Well, they were making money on it as soon as they started making them.
Exactly. And PlayStation was only not making money just because they had a shortage problem. Same thing Nintendo did, but the only difference between them two is because Nintendo actually makes money per console and Sony didn't. That's why Sony had shortage of profit in the first couple months, because they had shortages of console sales. Once they dealt with the supply, the games were pumping out and the profits went up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with that same philosophy, let's look at the PS3, for instance. How long has the PS3 been out? Years. You know, and how long is these? And you used Apple as an example, and that's a good example. Actually, I like that example. But when it comes to Apple and it comes to phones and it comes to iPads and iPods, et cetera, that's just new hardware for adults. And when you're talking about for adults, they can always justify spending their money because they're adults. They make the money. They can do it. But how often? I mean, with that same philosophy in mind, when you're targeting kids or teenagers or et cetera, people who don't necessarily have jobs, people still in school, you can't just keep pumping out yearly consoles that really don't change too much on them. Maybe add internet, maybe don't have this, maybe add 20% size on it, and expect adults to be able to justify buying their kids the exact same console again.
That's just it. I don't think it's. I wouldn't say it's adults buying the same console again. I would say, I would even take out the whole idea of buying it for kids. Let's just say it's adults buying these things for themselves. No, maybe an adult isn't gonna buy one right away. But say with the DS, the first one came out, and a lot of people thought it looked pretty goofy. I actually liked it, but hey, whatever. And then they came out with the DS Lite, and the DS Lite sold a lot better because it was sleeker, it was smaller. And it had a brighter screen. It resolved a couple design flaws, but a lot more people bought that, especially because you could get it in black. And so I would say that, and so it's not necessarily. Don't think of it as I bought a DS and then a year later the DS Lite came out. As an adult, I'm going to go and rebuy a DS Lite, which I'm sure a lot of people did. But look at it more as, say, your friend buys a DS and you see that and you're like, oh, that's really cool, but I don't like the way it looks and the screen's kind of dark, even though it is lit. And then a year later they come out with the DS Lite. You're like, oh, that's really cool. I really liked what games my friend was playing on his DS. I'll get a DS Lite. So that's kind of how I look at it.
All right. I want to kind of transition to what Nintendo's going to be doing to fix this problem that they're having. Well, basically, their growth is stagnated and actually declining because they're losing their core demographic. And
I have the solution.
And they're like, Iwata went on to say that they went for width and depth for the Wii and the DS, and they got the width, but they failed on depth, and that's in quality of games, not quantity of games. There's a lot of games for the Wii. Not when you look at percentage of highly rated Wii games, it's very low, and that's a huge problem for Nintendo, and that's why that Iwata came out and said we're going to focus on depth first, and you're going to see that in this year and ongoing games for the 3DS and Wii U. And that's
Yeah.
very important for Nintendo.
If I might.
there's some quotes from Iwata, if you don't mind, Benny.
Yeah, go on. I can wait.
Iwata said, "We have not designed the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U to be mere improved versions of their predecessors. We have designed them so that they can realize what has been impossible." And on the Wii and DS, he says, regrettably, what we prioritized in order to reach out to the new audience on the Wii and DS was a bit too far from what we prioritized for those who play games as their hobby. Consequently, we presume some people felt that the Wii was not a game system for them, or they were not willing to play with the Wii, even though some compelling games had been released. So he even went on to say, once consumers have a notion that this system is not for us, we have learned it is extremely difficult to change their positions later. So therefore, in promoting the 3DS and Wii U, we have announced that we would like to, add the width. He goes into the width and depth thing that you mentioned, Trevor. But go ahead, Benny.
I was saying that I think a lot of it has to do with Nintendo's branding, because when you look at, again, the example of the iPhone, they released a new model, but they still use the same. You can still use an original iPhone and you run almost the same apps as the new ones. I mean, some of the newer apps probably use a little bit more processing power, and the original iPhone probably won't handle as well, but it's still running kind of similar software. What Nintendo's doing is they're releasing the 3DS and a Wii U, and people are looking at it and thinking, oh, it's just a new DS. I'm just going to save the one I have. Why should I get another one when I already have one? But they don't realize that it's another system. It's a completely improved version of the system. Nintendo might be saying, well, we want to try and expand the way we play games, but you have to market to people saying it's a new console. And I think we've talked about this before about Nintendo changing the name Wii U to something else. And I think that would fix a lot of their problems.
Yeah, the Wii, they have a huge branding advantage with the Wii, but unfortunately, it's a toxic name.
Mm-hmm.
It's toxic.
And once you say Wii U, it's like, oh, they just add a letter to it. It's just the same as a Wii. And it's not. It really isn't. Everyone's seen what the Wii U is capable of. But nobody's going to really look into it at all because, like, oh, it's just another Wii.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I would like to think that people are smart enough to realize that, oh, it's different. Now, with the DS, Nintendo did screw up because they released the DS Lite and then the DSi, and now they're releasing the 3DS. That does get confusing, and Nintendo has admitted that that's been a problem.
Well,
with
Nintendo,
the Wii, on the other hand, they haven't released other Wii systems. It's just, no, this is the Wii, that's what it is.
Well,
so,
their difference in that was they changed the remote, and they tried to bill that as, oh, this is how we're going to extend the life of the console. Whereas where Microsoft and Sony released the Kinect and PlayStation Move, Nintendo said, okay, well, we're going to do Wii Motion Plus.
Well, I mean, what was Nintendo going to do? Add more motion control to their already motion controlled system?
That's what they did.
Well, no, I know. I mean different motion control, like something else. Like add a bodysuit to the Wii peripherals.
All right, let's move on.
Well, I wanted to mention that if you're, adding a letter to the Wii, I think will signify to people, oh, this is different. Just like, because what did Microsoft do with the Xbox? They added 360 to the title, and people didn't go, oh, they just added 360 to the title, so it's just another Xbox. That doesn't mean anything.
But
and what does
doing it
Sony do?
PlayStation
1, 2, 3, and 4. So I don't think people are, with the main console, I don't think people are going to get too confused just from the U.
All right.
But the problem with that is what Microsoft and then PlayStation did. They did it in an era where people weren't releasing new versions of something every single year. It was because there's time between them. It's like, well, when you say PlayStation 2, it's clearly distinguishable, saying, oh, it is different from PlayStation 1. Same with the PlayStation 3. It was kind of you knew once you saw it, when it said PlayStation 3, you're like, oh, it's a new console. Same with the 360. It was at this, and in an era where you could just add a couple letters and people knew it was something new. We're in an era now where you can't just do that. It's not possible to do that anymore. You have to brand it a different way.
Okay, guys, I wanna tie this back into where Nintendo's making progress. We kind of spun off topic there, but one of the things Nintendo is doing to kind of get themselves back on the right track is they're really adopting digital distribution. And when they announced they're going to sell New Super Mario Brothers two for the 3DS on the eShop, as well as in a physical cartridge. I think that's a good step for them. They're finally realizing people want to have more options. And on launch day, when they're only sending 13 cartridges to stores, well, I don't think they'll make that mistake, but you never know. But they'll allow people to buy the game regardless of where they are.
It sounds like Nintendo's going to be trying to do a really weird balancing act with the digital distribution and retail stores.
I don't think... No. Because Microsoft and Sony are both cleaning up with it. I don't see them having any issue with it.
Well, I mean, the problem is pressure from, retailers like Best Buy and Target and Myers and Walmart.
Well, if you're still offering them the option to sell the games, they're fine with it. I mean, it is going to be much easier for somebody to go to the store, pick up the cartridge, physically put it in their system, and they have it done. No confusion at all. But
I mean, if I'm Best Buy, and say Black Ops 2 is coming out exclusively for the 3DS, and it's not going to happen, obviously, but just an example, huge title coming out exclusively for the system that, millions of people are going to want to buy this right away. And I'm trying to sell pre-orders and stuff, and then I see, you guys are releasing that on the eShop at midnight on the day it's coming out.
You know what, Gil? I have a case in point here. Where's the only store that you can get the Circle Pad Pro for the 3DS?
Fair enough.
Exactly. Same problem, and Target's not balking at Nintendo. Best Buy's not. Any other retailer that should be mentioned isn't saying, "Oh, we're not going to carry the 3DS because we can't carry."
They just didn't do it publicly.
We can't carry the Circle Pad Pro. They're not. You know why? Because they're making a lot of money off of the accessory sales and the game sales. Maybe not so much on the hardware, but they're still making enough money where it's justifying them to maintain carrying the product.
I would bet that Best Buy did complain to Nintendo quietly. I doubt. I mean, maybe not Best Buy, but I doubt they all did. But I mean, whatever. What's left to say? Nintendo's awesome. They're going to continue to be awesome.
They're gonna make a new Zelda game, and everyone's gonna buy it.
All right, let's move on to some more news about Twitch TV, because Team Solo Mid, if you're a League of Legends fan, well, they're now on Twitch TV and away from the hellhole that is owned. Yeah, I said it.
You said what we're all thinking. It's just we've known it for a while. It was a neat concept. I just don't think they executed it right. But anyways, yeah, Mike knows a lot about this.
So, Mike, what do you think about the move for Team Solo Mid?
It's an expected one at this point, considering Owned has its flaws, and it's had its flaws for a long time. Such as one, it doesn't have its own dedicated chat network. You have to use external chat. On top of that, it's Twitch is not only supporting / sponsoring half of the League of Legends tournaments. It's on top of DreamHack. It's on top of all of the major tournaments that, at this point, for them not to switch over would actually probably be a loss, which is probably what ended up happening with their sponsors. If you take, let's say, Dignitas, for example, Skara is one of the main streamers of that team, and he's also one of the main streamers of all of Twitch. I mean, 15K, 17K viewers on an average, and he's not even allowed to stream anywhere else because they pay him extra just to make sure he stays there, and it's for good reason.
Actually, believe it or not, if you're a partnered streamer on Twitch, you're locked to Twitch. Well, yeah, that's part of the deal. Actually,
you're also locked to not play music, and you're also locked to not swear, and you're also locked to do other things. Which
they'll actually probably they would probably go after streamers if they were streaming elsewhere.
Yeah, you're right. Because
that's protecting their own brand.
And it's at the same time, it's not just Twitch he has to worry about. If he went to Owned, it would be, his own sponsors himself. Like, it would not just be Twitch's sponsor. Dignitas themselves, the team, he didn't make the name, and he's not the owner of the team. It's Dignitas themselves own the team, and it's a gaming organization across a lot of different games. And, he's locked to that for many different reasons, and they picked Twitch for a reason. Dedicated chat, it's got better server, better uptime. It's also got a better codec. I mean, Twitch itself is just an all-around better streaming
they've
site.
been making a lot of good moves, and I'm really glad that we picked Twitch ourselves as our video partner. But anybody else have comments on that? I think it's great for the community as a whole. I think getting more professional esports athletes on Twitch is really helping the site grow into a huge community, bigger than it was before. And I think there's only benefits to be reaped from it.
Calling Odd1 a professional is just not okay. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna go ahead and probably be and just speak from a negative Nancy kind of point. I'm sure there's some not lesser, doesn't mean they're any worse or better, but people who don't give a lot of attention are gonna look at this and say, "Oh, they've got thousands of viewers, while I'm still only getting half a dozen, and this is just gonna make it worse." And
no, I think it's gonna make it better.
It won't. I think it's just gonna bring more traffic to Twitch because people will follow solo mid anywhere they go.
And when those channels go offline, they'll look for somebody else.
Exactly.
Well, that's the trickle effect, as everyone knows it. I mean, in Owned, there was over 50, 60, 70,000 people that were watching, Team Solo Mid on Dyrus and Odd1 and etc. And even Scar himself would say it, is as soon as Dyrus would go offline, he would notice a 2-3K viewer bump. And it's now that bump isn't necessarily going to be as dramatic because more people are going to be already sitting on Twitch because they know that their favorite streamer's on there. So whenever he's not on, they're going to be forced to go to Twitch instead of Owned because that's where they're used to. It's a comfort zone. It's their home. And the lower end people should start seeing a lot more, just as they call it, traffic. Maybe not, dedicated viewers, but with traffic comes dedicated viewers, and you just got to stick to it.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to bring up that kind of point that some people might talk down on them. I honestly think it's a great thing for Twitch too, just in expansion, just bringing more traffic to the site.
Yeah, I think more teams will make the switch when word gets out. I mean, a lot of the teams are already partners on sites, so sometimes they have to get out of their contracts and then make the move. So depending on what kind of deal they're locked into, could depend on when teams move from other services. But let's go ahead and talk about some of our own esports ventures. Mike is heading up GGeS, GenGAME Esports, and it's going to be a new venture in the world of esports for us. We're starting with League of Legends, going to move into StarCraft 2 and possibly other games later this year. But the floor is yours to talk about it. Oh, okay, not Black Ops 2, Benny.
Oh.
Well, GGeS is pretty much just going to be opening up a whole line of tournaments for future games, current games, as he said. Our goal, mainly, as of right now, is to just kind of get our feet in the ground, start with bragging rights tournaments, and just move up into the actual pay tournaments. We're currently working alongside with TL Gaming, Top League Gaming. They are doing a partnered tournament with us on May 5th, and it's got over $500 in prize pool money, including RP and some skin prizes for those of you who play League of Legends, etc. So, I mean, it's definitely starting off. We're going to be able to start off with a big kick in the door, and hopefully with that, get to a better partnership and move along and grow as fast as we can.
And it's probably going to work a lot better than our first venture into esports with our other partners. I still talk with the guys; they're great guys, but I think this is probably the big move that we need to make. And it's finally happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, so the first tournament is going to be May 5th, as you heard. Midnight East Coast time, and that is 9 p.m. Pacific. So you know where to watch. You're watching it right now, just here later. And this weekend also we have the Great Minecraft Build-Off, another Epic Gate build. That's going to be coming up before the TL Gaming tournament. So we hope you tune in beforehand and watch some Minecraft build-off action, and then watch some awesome League of Legends action.
Can I go ahead and re-announce the topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
that way,
okay, for anybody who saw our derp last Friday, we had to switch things up and move to round 3 topic, which is going to be Treasure Island, and a lot of people are confused about it. I want to clarify. The island it's built, you're building the interior. It's an interior build. And it's going to be really cool. I mean, I've talked with our competitors, and they've already got a lot of fantastic ideas. So you're not going to want to miss it this Friday. No, Saturday.
All right. So this Saturday, and I believe we have an 8 o'clock start time for that. Or no, it's a 9 o'clock start. No, 8:30. That's what I put it on for.
On time.
On time.
Well, I'll probably be
Probably.
live about an hour and a half earlier with pre-show and all that stuff, doing some high roll crap probably. So maybe.
Alrighty. So let's go ahead and talk about Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh god, I cannot wait.
All right, Gil, if you can't
This
wait,
is a
I'll
Gil
let you
article.
take the floor.
I
Gil?
absolutely love Phantasy Star Online. This podcast is about to go on for another 2.5 hours. I have a lot.
Gil, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, so Phantasy Star Online came out a long time ago on the Dreamcast and was awesome, right? And then Phantasy Star Universe came out on the PlayStation 2 kind of at the end of its life and was not so great. Now Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming out and it's going to be amazing. I highly recommend you look at the article 1UP has. They got a lot of pictures of bosses and enemies. It looks absolutely fantastic. And there was a trailer a long time ago that also looked amazing. The writer was talking about the beta, and so far everything sounds awesome. It is going to be free to play, but according to what the writer said, everything in the cash shop are all cosmetic items. So nothing to break the game to worry about. But
That's good because I hate games that are pay to win.
yeah, for sure. And you know, I've started to think about buying virtual items in a free-to-play game differently. And instead of looking at it as, oh, you're paying money so you can have, some pixels in the form of a gun that looks a little prettier. Instead, I'm starting to look at it as, okay, this game is free to play. You enjoy playing it, so what do? You spend a little money in the cash shop every once in a while to support the game because you like it. You know, you don't go crazy and buy things all the time. You know, you spend maybe, $5-10 a month, basically what you would pay if it were a pay-to-play online game, just to kind of support the developer and the servers and all that because you like the game. And
It's kind of like I've seen this in other games like League of Legends and my favorite at the time, my favorite free to play right now, which is Super Monday Night Combat, where I mean you can get anything in the game by playing the game.
Mhm.
But if you want, you can get things earlier, or you can get skins or whatnot, and it's only a few bucks. And I have no problem dumping $20 into that game because I think it's awesome.
yeah, exactly.
It's a good
So-
model to adopt.
Yeah. So
The
with that in mind,
the freemium model has actually been very successful.
yeah. So with that in mind, I'm not as concerned about that anymore. One thing I'm really looking forward to that the article mentions, they've gone back to the PSO style of music, where the music changes when you're in battle versus when you're just running around. So some enemies pop up, the battle music fades in, you start fighting, and then everything's clear, and so the music changes back to be more mellow, and just exploring around. One thing that sounds really cool that is actually quite surprising, and Sega's tried to do this in the past with PSO and PSU. The guy playing said that he never played the same map or fought the same battle twice. So everything was completely random every time. Now, if they actually pull that off in the full game, and going to the forest is a different experience every time, no matter 10 years down the line, it's still different, that will be incredible. I expect that that ultimately won't be the case, but hopefully there will be enough of different variations to keep it interesting. One thing that was really cool is if you saw the trailer a long time ago, there are these I can't remember what it was called. Like, it's so there are these emergency codes that kind of randomly pop up, and apparently these can be literally anything. They can be like a ship crash or just a bunch of monster spawns, or it could even be a boss. Like literally a boss just pops up in the middle of the level before you even reach the actual boss of the level. So that sounds really cool. Oh yeah, another thing they're doing is...
All right, Gil, I'm gonna have to give you the wrap it up box.
And another thing,
is that parties are gonna be there. You're gonna be able to do like 12-person parties, and it's gonna be really fun and really amazing and really crazy. And I've got to get rid of my carpal tunnel before this game comes out. Because I really have to play this game. I cannot stress how much I have to play this game. You have to play this game, and you and you and you and you and you, and all your friends have to also play this game.
Get rid of that carpal tunnel and then give it to yourself again, right?
I did.
Long nights and 12-pack of Mountain Dew come in handy.
I will admit I did end up buying Phantasy Star Universe like 3 times, but in my defense, I bought it once for myself and twice for 2 other people. So I have an excuse, but yeah. Phantasy Star Online 2, it's gonna be amazing coming out this summer.
I could make a joke there, but I'm trying to get out of this segment. What's next?
Get excited about Phantasy Star Online 2, dang it.
What system is it? Is it PC?
Yeah, so the beta's on PC. Apparently it's going to be on, like, it sounds like pretty much everything. There's going to be a version coming out for the PlayStation Vita. It's going to be on smartphones as well. I don't quite know how that's going to work. And the Vita version of the game won't be out until 2013. So yeah,
right.
I don't know how those.
All right, Gil, I'm giving you the wrap it up box. It's time to move on to
PC.
the next one.
But it's going to be on PC in the summer in Japan and hopefully sometime soon around the world.
All right.
Go ahead.
We're moving on.
Game's going to be amazing, dang it.
Skype is now on the PlayStation Vita. If you have a PlayStation Vita, go download Skype and watch as it crashes and burns with a large conversation. Moving on actually to something actually pretty cool. If you're a Walking Dead fan, now available is The Walking Dead, the game.
The game. It's a good game when it's a TV or movie or even book and you add the game at the end.
It doesn't have the game attached. It's just The Walking Dead. It's a Telltale game series, so you know it's gonna have some pretty good content in there. They did Back to the Future. They did Jurassic Park. All pretty solid. So we'll be interested to see where this goes and how it gets reviewed. But anybody here Walking Dead fans?
I'm not a fan of the show, but I'm going to make a comment about Telltale Games themselves. They are, I think, the best company to make the TV and movie spin-offs the right way. Like, there's a lot of companies who
do it the wrong way.
They just get a license and make a game for it just because, it's a quick buck they can make. Telltale Games actually cares about these games. and make... Sorry?
I just had this awful cough where I'm coughing developers and publishers.
I didn't catch that, so... but yeah, I am a big fan of Telltale Games, and they did another one, one not many people remember. Was it Poker Night at the Inventory?
Oh yeah, Poker Night at the Inventory was great. It
was a great simple game, and you could play that for hours on end.
A simple concept of just taking characters from other games and just putting them at a poker table and seeing what happens.
And adding Tycho from
Penny Arcade. That was the icing on the cake. All right. So, who's excited about Max Payne 3?
Not me.
I didn't play the first 2.
It looks really good. Not exactly my most prized series, but it looks really good, and it's really making me more excited for Grand Theft Auto 5. Because Rockstar Games has just been putting the most impressive looking games on console out, and they're pushing the envelope. I mean, with LA Noire, while it wasn't the greatest game ever, it laid the blueprint for what they could be doing with Grand Theft Auto 5. So the wait is almost over. Just a few more weeks. I'll probably pick it up. I think I will buy into it and see what all the hype is all about. But
I'm gonna say, you know, when the game's actually coming out when you start seeing those ads on YouTube for it.
yeah, the ad looks so badass though. It's like, well, I guess
It
they
is.
weren't
It
here
does
to
look
tell me I
really
won the
good.
lottery. Full set of gun.
I would just like to temper your excitement with a little reality, saying that, you know, a lot of games look good when they're a trailer, and I've been disappointed by a lot of games that when they finally came out were not that great. But they had a good trailer.
Weren't you the one just orgasming over a trailer?
No, I was orgasming over a guy talking about a game's beta. And if
But
the
it's-
beta, if
it's good.
usually if the
Beta
beta
is
of a
supposed
game
to
is
be
good, the
a
game
demo.
is going to be awesome.
That's not how it works at all.
That is totally how it works. You just don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
All right, so
Thanks for a guest. We want him to come back in the future.
yes. So anybody here want to intro the next topic? The next one here? Anybody?
No Crisis 3 on Wii U.
More bad
That
news
was
for the Nintendo.
that was a
brand.
big surprise.
Yeah, because the most advanced graphical engine game in pretty much the world isn't going on the only console that can't support HD.
Well, I mean,
Well, the Wii U is set to
Oh, the
support
Wii
1080p.
U, I guess can.
Yeah.
I guess what it's
It's
limited
a-
to 720p now. It is HD, isn't it?
No,
No,
it'll
it's 1080.
support 1080p.
Oh, it is 1080. Oh, okay. I don't follow Nintendo that much. I'm really not too
Well,
fond of it.
it's you would assume correct if it was. I mean, then again, all the older Xbox 360s only supported 720p or 1080i, but if you got an HDMI output, you're doing 1080p.
I mean, what I want to know is, why would anyone even ask this question? The first two Crisis games were not on the Wii, so why would you expect Crisis 3 to be out on the Wii U?
Nintendo has a new console, so they figured, okay, now you can put.
Well,
It's actually not too big of a surprise, believe it or not. Crisis 1 was a PC only game. Crisis 2 is now two consoles games. Crisis 3, it could yet again continue its trend and possibly continue. So the
It'll
idea
end up
of
on a
them
DS.
saying, yeah, the idea of them saying, well, is it going to continue, isn't necessarily unfounded. But at the same time, I agree to saying that, listen, the Wii's not going to get it. I mean, it's not the kind of a Wii game, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, well,
I
that's the
wouldn't
mold
even-
that
I wouldn't
Nintendo's
even
trying to
say-
break, though. That's the mold Nintendo's trying to break. They're trying to break that mold, saying we're not just shovelware. We're solid games. We have Assassin's Creed. We have Call of Duty. We have Battlefield. We have
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. I'm grasping for straws here. Anybody got other launch titles?
I can't remember.
Assassin's
I know
Creed's the
I
only
know
one I'm
they've
looking
I know
forward
they've
to.
got the new Rayman
E3
game coming.
2011 was so long ago. Come on.
E3 2012 is just under a month away.
It's what, 11 months ago?
But I mean, my thing is, it's not that it wouldn't fit on a Nintendo console. My thing is just, I mean, Crysis is, you know, like it's like they're not, the developer is not set up to really develop for multiple consoles. I mean, yeah, I guess they're getting there.
Darksiders 2.
Maybe-
Thank you.
Maybe
I should know
Crysis
this. I work
4
for
will
GG.
be on the Wii U or Wii everything or whatever the next one is. But I don't ever expect to see Crysis. I mean, it's not even that great a game. So why would anyone care?
It's the benchmark. I mean, a lot of PCs.
For
when
PCs.
When people
For
build their
PCs, not for
PCs, they don't
consoles.
play Crysis. They just buy it so they can test it and see how good it runs on their computer.
Well,
It-
saying that it's
But
not
can
that
it
good
run
of a
Crysis?
saying that it's not a good game is more of an opinion basis than anything. I mean, it
That
got
too.
pretty good reviews based on it's actually a shooter, and its multiplayer was actually quite fun. But
The Crysis
to
multiplayer
our-
was pretty good.
yeah,
when I
Crisis 2
tried
was
it.
a really good step in the right direction. And Crisis 1, yes, Crisis 1 was pretty much a mediocre game with just an amazing graphic setting for you to say, hey, well, my computer can run Crisis and yours can't, so I'm cooler than you. Crisis 2 went in a direction of still you can brag that your computer can play it, but yet at the same time, it actually had gameplay, it actually had a story, and it actually had multiplayer that you could say, hey, I mean...
That Call of Duty stole from.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, they did.
Kill
didn't they?
confirm. They stole the mechanic of kill confirm from Crysis.
Yes, I mean, they.
But
had some
I
good
like that
mechanics.
though in Crysis though because you couldn't get your kill streaks unless you went and you picked up your enemy dog tags.
Yeah,
which
it's
kind
just
of-
saying that, hey, this is my kills. I belong
Yeah.
to me.
All right. Well, I mean, speaking of Call of Duty, that will be on the Wii U. So
I guess we'll be controlling our quad rotors with our Wii U tablets.
That could actually be an ideal control scheme for that.
Sad reality as it is.
You have that touchscreen tablet interface. You can put whatever you want on there. That could be really cool.
When you think Call of Duty on the Wii tablet, I'm thinking you're sitting here playing. It's like, oh, I gotta drop care package somewhere. You hit a button and you go. While you're still moving around, you go whoop, doom, and you drop it right there with just very quickly.
God, that would be awful.
I don't think so. You have to just like touch the
great.
screen and boom, you drop a care package.
I'm sorry, guys. It's all about using your nose to drop those care packages. You're like, okay, got it. Okay, we got to drop that care package.
Well, what's the alternative?
Or a sausage or something.
On screen or a thing on screen, and you can't really move around while you're still selecting where you want to drop it. It allows for seamless gameplay. It's like you don't have to stop moving.
Since when did you ever need to stop to drop a care package in the first place, though?
Didn't you?
No, you just pull it out.
Technically, you didn't have to stop.
No, not
but
care
it was a
package
lot easier to get it where you wanted if you stopped.
No, you guys just don't have those.
Okay, no, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said care package. I'm thinking maybe like airstrike or something like that. When you pull up the little map.
Oh,
yeah. Talk about when he pulls out.
Yes, if I had a better example, it'd probably make my point better. But
your example didn't make sense.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, and
I get you.
All right, let's talk about boobs.
Hey, Benny, guess what?
We're talking about boobs, people. All right.
Yeah, Dead or Alive 5 has costume-specific breast physics.
Yes.
I think that pretty much says it all right there. I mean, basically, you change. So, okay, where's the quote? Where's the freaking quote? Okay. Team Ninja head Yosuke Hayashi said that Dead or Alive 5 will rise beyond sex and violence, instead pursuing a direction that contains emotional experiences that can move players. Now, that was like 2 months ago. Now, in an interview with Famitsu, Hayashi has revealed that the female characters will have costume-specific breast physics. And furthermore, each costume will have varying levels of transparency. So it sounds a little bit of backpedaling there. Like, oh no, we're gonna move away from the sex and violence and we're gonna have story and emotion. And then maybe he's looking at Twitter and he's like, we're gonna have sex and violence.
Because that's what sells.
Jiggle option? Me gusta.
All right.
It's just a marketing ploy. Everyone knows Dead or Alive has just the sex and violence, and if you stop putting out the sex and violence, people are gonna stop buying your game.
If you stop putting out,
people stop.
Nice one.
Money.
Nice one, Benny.
Way to keep it clean, Benny. Moving on.
All right,
Hey,
let's move on. Let's move on to a Kickstarter gone bad, and I almost didn't want to talk about this because it just put such a bad taste in my mouth. And there was an attempt to make a Ron Paul video game. Yes, you heard that right. Ron Paul video game. And it was called The Road to Revolution. And the downside was they stole all the code and they stole the sprites. And that essentially turned the very successful Kickstarter, because it had over 200 supporters and $10,000 put towards it. Unfortunately, they stole all the code and they forgot to kind of remove all the copyrights. Oops. So, I want to pose it to you guys. With all these Kickstarter projects starting up, how much fact checking do you think is going into these, making sure these are original projects and not just kind of like scams? Because to me, this is kind of a scam.
About as much fact checking people go in do whenever they donate to any simple charity. It's the exact same thing. You see something, it's like, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to throw money at it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll keep my dollars, thanks. I'll spend it on other things.
There's no fact checking going into these things. I mean,
if the media only did their job, no, I'm not going to go there either. It's just
Kevin brings up Coney
your money.
2012. Cough, cough.
Yeah, it's your money. If you spent it wrong, if you made dumb choices with it, then that's your fault. I'm sorry, but that is your fault.
Yeah. By the way, that reminds me, Trevor, I got this game I'm going to publish. It's totally original. Don't worry about it. But I just need a little capital to get it started. I got a lot of the code done, though. I think you just, pass me a few $1,000s. I can get this finished.
Yeah, sure. Just, where do I write the check to?
You can write that out to Gilbert Warner. Is not scamming you. Yeah. And just $20,000. Thank you.
20,000? Okay. I just need a pen.
Oh, I got one right here.
I don't have pens anymore.
Okay, and we'll have that check in the mail for you.
All right, thanks.
It's an invisible check, so just
everyone look forward to Angelic Ring 1 coming out soon. Angelic Ring 1 coming to stores near you this summer.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the final bit of news on the list here before we kind of turn this into the rectangular portion of the podcast. I heard a whoa whoa. Did anybody want to stop me before I moved on, or?
No. Have you seen it yet? If you haven't seen it yet, it's about time you did.
Seen what?
The picture. We're talking about the picture, right?
Yes. The horrendous cover art that is the Batman Arkham City Game of the Year edition. And I'm surprised.
Thank you.
Oh man, this is disgusting. This is just like white and red and everything bad all over. I don't even know what this is. Like,
they're kind of a big deal, and they have to let you know.
Like, is the game 10 out of 10?
Is it? I don't. Oh, do we have to fact check that? Should we confirm that it was 10 out of 10?
I'm pretty sure Game Informer
it
gave it 10 out of 10.
contradicts itself several times. It says 5 out of 5 in 2 places. Oh no, I get it. They're adding the 2 5 out of 5s to get the 10 out of 10 at the top. That's what that is, right?
Well, the 10 out of 10, of course, came from Game Informer, and the other ones I can't even tell you where because this image is so
Game
small.
Pro and G4 TV.
Oh,
because they're totally credible.
They are the utmost of importance in the game critic sphere.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe they should have. They should have just taken the old box art and slapped Game of the Year edition on the top.
Like what they did with Arkham Asylum.
Steelbook. And like, charge like double the price. I'd totally buy that.
It looks terrible. This is a disaster.
I mean, if they really... I mean, usually this is the type of thing you would put on the back of a case. You don't put this on the front. You know?
I can understand...
was the back of the case.
You don't even... You don't even put it on the back of the case. You put it on stickers on the outside. Like on the plastic wrap. That's what you put this stuff on. Like, you don't put it on the case itself.
Like, this is disgusting. Like,
this is what a video game case should look like. Okay?
Oh, hang on. I'm not in my switcher. There we go. See, that's again, a good cover
that's a
right
steel
there.
Book. These things are collector's items. That's what the Game of the Year edition should be. It's something to be valued. You shouldn't even open it. It's just like, it has a really cool cover. This is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, why
maybe they're trying to drive up the cost of the originals.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no problem with publishers putting box quotes or scores on it, but it's just not even tasteful. It's like saying, yeah, this is like the must-have game. You should totally have it. If you don't have it, you should feel really bad.
Got a big head because they're like, oh, we won Game of the Year, and they weren't expecting it. Really weren't expecting it. It's kind of a big deal, and they just like had to let everyone know that they were Game of the Year. Because they beat Skyrim, so they had to let everyone know they were Game of the Year.
Well, I mean, essentially it was a split between Arkham City and Skyrim.
That's almost what it is. It's almost rubbing in the face of everyone else saying, we had a lot of great games this year, but ours was better. That's almost what this is saying to me.
Fall Reload in the chat says, the downfall of gaming is not digital distribution and non-used games. It's cover art like this.
I 100% agree.
You, sir, win 2 internets.
Here's the thing about Game of the Year editions. All right, almost every major title gets a Game of the Year edition. You know, at least that's what it seems like to me. You know, you go into a store a year later, and every game that came out last year, now it's a Game of the Year edition that you can buy. You know, these things always come out. Now, yes, it won a lot of awards, but at least for me, it didn't win any awards that I personally recognize as being, you know, a completely impartial body to grant such a thing. Like, I don't look at the Spike TV Awards as anything really official. I mean, they put a lot of money into it, but that doesn't make them...
The only reason you watch Spike TV Awards is for the big announcement that somebody has when you watch
Yeah,
Spike
it's like
TV.
the one exclusive trailer announcement, and then it's on YouTube 30 seconds later.
That's just it. I don't even watch Spike TV, so...
I don't think I watch any TV anymore besides
The only
my
reason
local
to watch
sports
Spike
channel.
TV is for the Video Game Awards and then the Microsoft's E3 press conference, which they like to air on there for some reason.
Which there is live streamed anyway from Microsoft, so there's no reason to even watch it. I guarantee you we're going to see all the major press conferences live streamed on Twitch TV. Make it happen.
I don't know.
1,000 Ways to Die is a good show. 1,001 Ways to Die. That's good.
This is kind of a disappointing thing to end on. Kind of feel like we should have put the Dead or Alive at the end. That would have been great.
All right, do you want to
We
see...
should talk about boob physics again if you want.
I can put the image of boobies on the screen again, so... There we go. Just there. We can now end the show. So, is there any last-minute things we need to go through here? Again, Saturday at midnight, we're launching GGeS with the TL Gaming League of Legends tournament. Mike will be hosting... So we're happy to have you on board doing that. He's been doing a few tournaments, but we're finally putting it under an official name. And we can't wait to get that stuff rolling. In the meantime, if you do want to sign up for tournaments, we do have a small landing page set up at gengame.net/GGES. And eventually we might have... I don't know if we're going to just leave it under here or if we'll get another site for it. But for now, GenGAME eSports is... on the GenGames page. So this is what it looks like. Eventually, we're going to be adding some additional games in here. We'll have all the casters and their bios up there. And then if you want to sign up for tournaments, you just go, you open up the little panel, and boom, you're registered. That's it. Eventually, this will be filled. Right now, it's just coming soon, but... If you want to know a cool place to set your homepage to, this could be what you want to set it to. And we'll have links to brackets and everything about the tournaments right here.
And it won't look white anymore soon enough. Just white.
You know what I think a better homepage might be, Trevor?
What?
GenGame.net, where you can get all your goodness and gaming news right there. You know? Both this and our streams and everything. You know, you can get access from GenGame.net.
That is true.
I did not know that.
But I think this is where we kind of call it a show. So we go through, Mike. I don't know if you haven't been on the show, so where can people find you online, Mike?
Don't really have a Twitter quite set up yet. As
you
of
can
right
work
now,
on that.
I do have a GenGame email at mike@gengame.net. I also have a League of Legends name, Demoxide. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat for all of you guys who don't know me. If you guys need to get a hold of me, you can email me. You can come on League of Legends and contact me directly. I always answer everything that's messaged to me at any time. So there you go.
Okay, I'm just going to add that onto the lower third for you.
Right on.
Just waiting.
And there we go. So it's on the screen for you guys. For those of you watching the recorded version. Gil, where can people find you online?
They can find me at twitter.com/MrPuck. That's where I'm at.
All right. Benny!
Nerf George.
Nerf George Buff Irelia.
You can follow me at Twitter at NightPhoenix16, NIGHTPHOENIX. BennyG16, and email me at BennyG@GenGAME.net for all the fun stuff I do. Questions and comments, always welcome.
Alrighty, and of course you can find me on Twitter. I'm at the Mags. You could also send me an email, Trevor@GenGame.net. If you want to get in touch with the podcast, you can send an email to podcast@GenGame.net. Leave a comment on the post when it goes up. Follow us on YouTube, on Twitter at GenGame. And if you want to subscribe to us at Blip, we'd really appreciate that. Blip.tv/GenGame. We're also on iTunes, and I think that's it. YouTube.com/GenGameNet. But that's it. That's been the show, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you want to catch us live, we record around Tuesdays, 10 p.m.-ish. That's when we do it live. Give or take. Give or take 30 minutes. 10 p.m. Eastern time, should clarify.
10 p.m.
Alright, but that's the show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the GenGAMEcast. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Gusta.